From the Live X Studios in New York City, Cheesehead TV brings you two guys who like to think they know something about football.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Packer Transplants Live. I am Aaron Nagler, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Corey Behnke, my partner here at Cheesehead TV. I am coming to you from my apartment in New York City, and Corey joins us live from Green Bay, Wisconsin, across the street from Lambeau Field, and we are ready to talk some Packers. What do we have on tap today, Corey?
Today, we'll celebrate the annihilation of the 49ers and look ahead to the showdown with the Jaguars. Right now, it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got the good. We got
Devontae, best wide receiver in the NFL, Adams.
We got the bad. We got
Kingsley Kiki jumping off sides, really?
We got the ugly. We got
the NFL for playing that game at all on that Thursday night when it could have easily been moved, but no, commerce, it always comes first when you talk about the National Football League. Corey Behnke, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm in the neighborhood. Welcome, everybody, to this Friday evening. And after this show is over, I'm going to be having some Green Bay fish fry. So everybody be jealous about that for this entire show.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm jealous of it. No doubt about it. That is some Wisconsin goodness right there. No doubt about it.
Oh, man, that's my TGIF there, Nagler. That's my TGIF.
Before we go any further, we got to give the first moment of the show has to be dedicated to the Golden Boy. The first piece of Packers news today, you've got to give a shout out to Paul Hornung. Rest in peace to a Packers legend, a true GOAT, a guy who absolutely owned the era that he played in. 1935 was obviously instrumental to the Packers' many titles throughout the 60s. Vince Lombardi absolutely loved the guy. And let's face it, he as Jerry Kramer perfectly said, he loved scoring both on and off the field. The guy was an absolute legend. Rest in peace, Paul Hornung, 84 years old, passed away earlier today. I was wondering, Corey, did you ever get a chance to meet him? Anytime around Lambeau, any events or anything?
No, my grandmother had two men. Well, she had three men in her life, two men besides my grandfather. And one of those was Don Hudson, and the other one was Paul Hornung. So there you go. She had a thing for wide receivers. She reminded me every day that I saw her how much she could have almost, had Paul Hornung as a boyfriend. And I was like, I didn't doubt it for a second. But I will say the thing that I love about Paul Hornung's scouting report, Ben Fennell posted it today, where it's like the third column down and it's like, likes girls. Just funny. Like, okay.
I mean,
if you're putting that in a scouting report,
it's
if you're putting that in a scouting report, it's serious. There's only 5 things. That was one of them. So yeah,
that was one bullet point. Hey, I said this on radio a little while ago.
He was the best of the best, right? He was the best of his era. He was. There's no doubt about it.
What I loved is Bart Starr talking about how he and Max McGee got fined so often by Vince Lombardi that they literally paid for the players' holiday parties each and every year with their fines. And they knew they were getting fined, and they didn't care. That's my guy.
There you go. And they still played. I mean, look, a rusher, a thrower, a passer, a kicker, a catcher, a wide receiver, a blocker. I mean, the guy did everything. Like he was one of the last of the rugby stars, right? Where football's roots
who
came
did everything.
From, that time when like that's what you did. That's how you won championships. You had a bunch of guys that could do it all. So
and he certainly did.
It's really sad that all the Lombardi legends are just going one by one, and it seems like
4 this year, no doubt, no doubt. So let's soldier on. We got to give Golden Boy a shout out. The Packers have their own present day unfortunate news dropping earlier this morning. Fullback H-back John Lovett out for the year with a torn ACL. This kid is, I really liked his upside, his potential. He ended last year on IR with the Chiefs. Packers got him when they cut him earlier this summer. He had just kind of started rounding into fullback form, I would say. And now, I mean, he was on the injury report earlier this week. He went from a full participant Wednesday to a limited participant yesterday. And to Schefter reporting this morning that he will be out with an ACL injury. So obviously that knee giving him too many problems for him to continue to go on. We'll see if Sternberger takes over that role, kind of like he did heading into the playoffs last year when they lost Danny Vitale. That would be a guess. Next up, we got Jair Alexander. Probably, I would say, this is still a bit of guesswork. We haven't got the final injury report, but I got to think he's most likely not going to play on Sunday. I know coach is going to, quote, give him all the time, blah, 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 but I'll be very surprised if he's a go. But on the flip side, in the good news department, I would not be surprised if we saw David Bakhtiari. He should return. At this point, he's done everything. He's suited up and, he's practiced.
If the amount he's tweeting has any
the correlation.
If there's any correlation between tweets and playing, I think he's good for playing. He's been putting polls out there.
He's ready to.
He must feel good.
He's ready to go, no doubt about it. Let's talk about the offense, shall we, Corey? The Packers' offense. My goodness, Corey, what a difference Aaron Jones makes. How noticeable is it? This kid, his vision, his explosiveness. I mean, it's so funny, and to the point where our own, my old former colleague Pete Doherty wrote a whole column about how all of a sudden now it's time to keep Aaron Jones. We've been saying,
and
it's probably keep Aaron Jones.
It is funny how what a half of a season a difference makes. All of a sudden you've got stuff. You see who the important people are. What was it like? Not only like 5 weeks ago, we were talking about who can we afford to keep, and the deck is shuffling on that. I feel like. I mean, probably not in Russ Ball or Brian. Probably not in Russ or Brian's brain, but in all of us fandom's brains, it's definitely been shuffling.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's interesting to see. How quickly Aaron Jones gets through a hole, the vision that he has to see things that, let's face it, guys like Jamal and Tyler probably can't or don't. And he really kind of instantly in that first drive against the 49ers showed why he's so valuable. I mean, he's just he's on another level, and he just makes the offense that much more explosive. And I understand not wanting to pay running backs. I get that argument. But man, if there is not a case for a guy being instrumental at that position in a certain offense, I mean, Aaron Jones makes the case every time he touches the football field.
Yeah, so it's just hard. I mean, isn't the knock on paying running backs just the injury? All running backs are ultimately injury prone.
Kind of. I mean, it's a fungible position. Yeah, exactly. And look, we've just gone through a stretch without Aaron Jones because he nicked his calf in a practice. So I totally understand that logic and or reasoning. But when you see how explosive and what the upside is with him in there, and the fact that for the most part, I mean, he went through all last year, didn't miss any games. He has missed a few games this year. Obviously had some injury concerns early on in his tenure in Green Bay. So I understand the Packers not wanting to fork over a ton of money. And look, when you compare their situations with all the other teams who have running backs, whether it's Kamara, whether it's Cook, whether it's Derrick Henry, etc., the Packers are the one team that has held back so far. And I do think out of prudence and probably smartly so, because they don't want to overpay. It'll be interesting as we approach the end of the season to see where the Packers go. Of course, the other issue that they've got to deal with is the shrinking salary cap for next year. So that has a lot to play out there, It's just definitely something to continue to watch. Next up on the offensive side, we mentioned it in the opener, we got Sternberger probably sliding into fullback, I would think. I am very interested to see if they can utilize him on that fullback wheel route. We saw Jaguars run it week 1. I want Sternberger fullback. He was a surprisingly effective blocker last year. I want him in there in the mix just so we can see him on the wheel route. That's all I want. Just one time, please. Give it to me, LaFleur.
It's really funny how
that's what I'm asking for.
many analysts. There's so funny how many analysts for the Packers love wheel routes. It's really kind of one of these weird stats. Like,
I just love it.
Everybody wants a wheel route.
It's a creative use of personnel. Yeah, you get them running outside, then you take it up. Loving it. Loving it. Finally, on the offensive side, it's fun to watch Irvin become a bit of a chess piece. You know, I do these Packers Dailies chats every morning, and one of the kind of continuing themes I've heard is people being not upset, but like mystified and or dubious about the fact that we haven't seen Tyler Irvin on returns. And I do think they want to keep him healthy, and they want to utilize him on offense, and taking that burden off of him makes sense for those purposes. I'm ready for him to do both. And I think if they're getting healthy at the running back spot, maybe we see Irvin get pushed back out onto returns. But I love him from scrimmage. I love what he brings as far as a motion guy, his ability both in the backfield and at wide receiver. You can utilize him so many different ways. Just get the ball in his hand. Yeah, he is a joy to watch. There's no doubt about it. I love everybody checking in here on the see, Big B loves wheel routes. Hey, shout out Big B. Great news that you dropped on Twitter right before the show, buddy. Glad to hear things are going well.
You know what? I was gonna make a sign for Big B, and we'll have to wait. That'll have to wait.
Well, you got to reveal it at the right time. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Let's talk about the defense, shall we?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's talk about the defense. It's time for the Smiths to show up big. It is time. They have been,
I'm ready.
I'm not going to say coasting, but they have, been maturing throughout the season, if you will. They've been, taking advantage of some lesser tackles, perhaps.
Okay, hold on. You got to separate the Smiths, okay? You got Mario and you got Luigi. So it's like, okay, Mario Z is doing well, okay? He's taken over 2 out of 6 games, in my opinion. Okay, and that's a very that's not a very smart opinion, but that's my opinion about that.
That's your opinion,
Preston. You can listen to Preston's voice at how annoyed he is this week by the suggestion that he's not playing at the level he was last year. So you kind of hope that that's what it's going to take to get a chip on his shoulder. Also, somebody get the guy a PS5, because if that's what it takes for the guy to get sacks back and start tackling, I'm here for it, okay? If we got to start a GoFundMe, I don't know what's going on. But apparently, he's in need of a PS5, so let's get him it, okay? Whatever it takes.
I'm just going to look at that contract that Brian Gutekunst handed him a couple years ago and tell him to get his own PS5. But that's just me. I will say he has been coming on these last couple weeks. Now, I thought he played a really solid game against Houston. He and Z both took advantage of a backup tackle last week, but that's what you're supposed to do. So they did what they were supposed to do. I want to see that continue. I want to see them start to dominate. I want to see them start causing disruption each series, every game, from now until the Super Bowl. And if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, it's going to take them coming on in the second half of the season. All gas, no fucking break from the Smith brothers. You talk about a component that has not been there for this defense that was there last year. You can point to a lot of different areas, but the Smiths dominating is absolutely one of them. So we need that.
It's true.
Need that.
Yeah.
Need it, Behnke.
Because we got a defense that's sitting there at 15, and all we got to do is just skim under the radar, be closer to 10. If we can get closer to 10, right, and we can have that dominating pass rush when we need it, those are the differences for offensive heavy teams like we have. And that's when you're going to see
to create turnovers.
The explosion. 100%. Exactly. All we need is a turnover, take advantage of the situational football, and move on with our lives. And you've seen how situational football affects us both ways. No, seriously. We
it's
cannot
true.
get
I know.
down.
I totally agree.
And on the flip side, when we get people down, they can't crawl out of that hole. It's not possible. So, let's do it.
It's very, very true. Moving from the outside at the backer position to the inside, you got to think tomorrow is D-Day for both Lazard and Kirksey. I think if Kirksey comes up, you got to think Kirksey and Martin are your best inside duo. And I know we love Barnes. He's a great story. but they need to get Kirksey on the field as soon as possible. You paid the guy, you went out and got him to be your guy, your new Martinez, so to speak. And I understand he wasn't exactly lighting it up before he got hurt, but he was playing solid football, I thought. And I think if he continues to do that, you put him alongside Martin, then you're cooking with gas. I think Barnes is a little too inconsistent. That is just I know, like I said, I know we're all very excited about the fact that this undrafted kid came in and seemingly took us all by surprise and played pretty well early on in the season. But week in and week out, he is just too inconsistent for my liking. I think they got to get Kirksey and Martin as their duo along the interior. And again,
speaking
I'm
of Blake
not taking anything away from
Nagler,
Barnes.
Blake Martinez making plays.
He is. Looking good there in a Giants uniform, no doubt about it. Also continuing to make tackles 8 yards down the field. Yeah. But their defense is pretty legit, though, I'll say. You watch how they played the Buccaneers. They played the Buccaneers a hell of a lot tougher than the Packers did. I'll give their defense that every day of the week.
How about those Saints? Huh?
How about those Saints, huh? How fun was that? How fun was that?
The funny thing is this is why situational football, and I know you hate me saying it. It just makes you laugh every time I say it, but it's why it's so critical.
No, I love it
because if you believe in the idea of parity in the league, which I don't see how you can't looking at this league, every year, middle of the season, look, there's a puzzle piece. The Saints beat the Bucks beat the Packers beat the Saints, and around the world we go on this whirlwind of parity we're living in. So people, when you get down in the dumps, okay, and you're like, I got the worst defense in the history of the NFL. Just remember, all that separates the good from the great is 1.5 plays usually. That's literally all that separates those that do with those that do not. And, I just want to put that out there.
The talent level is so similar along most teams, not all teams, but most teams, that, a handful of plays, usually turnover plays, can decide games in the NFL. And the thing about it, you just pointed out the triangle, right, of Packers beat the Saints, Packers get clobbered by the Bucks, Saints go on and beat the Bucks and clobber the Bucks. It's not so much who you play, it's when you play them. I say this all the time, and I know people kind of poo-poo that or they just go down their list of, okay, who played who beat who, well, then this person, by the transitive property of me being a fan, that team should go on and win this other game because of that. It's so much about matchups. It's so much about who's available injury-wise, and sometimes it is about 1 or 2 plays that, the ball bounces the wrong way, or you get a turnover play like the Bucs did early in that game and set things up for the rest of the afternoon. Yep. This comes up every year, and every year, especially with losses early in the season, people try to read so much into it when there's so much left to play out. And that's why I always say it's not who you play, it's when you play them. That's the biggest takeaway for me. Always. Finally, the last bit on the defense, I want to talk Josh Jackson making things interesting. You talked about possibly reshuffling the idea of who should be playing. Yeah.
Josh Jackson and Jair Alexander, according to PFF, are ranked as the best duo. Right? Am I incorrect? Did I see that
coverage
incorrectly?
duo? Yep.
That blew my mind.
You saw it correctly.
We have a coverage duo. When is the last time that happened to the Green Bay Packers? It's been a while.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's been a hot Josh Jackson's PFF grades, and of course, we only quote PFF when they're saying stuff we like. We always ignore them when they're saying stuff we don't, and that's just the way fandom works. But look, Josh Jackson's not playing that much differently than Kevin King was. But my thing I find interesting now is what you were talking about earlier, as far as the perception of the deck, right, and the idea of the pecking order that Brian Gutekunst and Russ Ball have. Now on the outside, I cannot go a single day on Packers Daily without someone saying, "Oh, well, obviously this means Kevin King is going to be allowed to walk."
Yeah,
and
we don't need Kevin King, so we have Josh Jackson.
No,
That's cool.
No, we were just going to let him go.
I remember
here's the
Andy
thing.
Herman last week.
I don't think it's crazy.
Totally, it was like, It kind of is though. Like 2 weeks ago, Andy Herman was like, "I did not think this is how I would be spending my Friday," and it was when that basically came out, where like I think someone, maybe non-celebrity PB said it. I don't know. I can't even say his name anymore. It's Voldemort to me.
Did you just say non-celebrity PB?
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Everyone who follows this show knows who I'm talking about.
That's hilarious.
Because Joey the Jaguar calls him he puts him on his thing. He's like, "What celebrity do I look like?" Okay, bro, not a celebrity. Okay, so you need to take that one out. So that's why he's non-celebrity PB.
No.
That's his nickname.
Oh no! Oh my god! That's amazing.
That's how I roll. Nagler.
That's amazing.
That's how my brain works.
I understand.
Anyway,
I understand.
I love Josh is making it interesting though. He is making it interesting. And he's also a poster child for.
We needed it. Yep.
Guys aren't busts after a year and a half or 2 years. Let them play.
Nope.
Let their career develop. You know, I'm getting close on Oren Burks. Getting close to saying Oren Burks is a bust. Not quite there yet, but I'm close.
Slow down.
They're desperate. They moved him to outside backer because they were so desperate to try and find something for him to do.
Okay, can we be patient?
What?
Okay. Can we be a little bit patient?
I'm patient,
okay?
Behnke. Hey, no, you are not asking Mr. Patience for patience. That is not something that's going to happen. Sorry, I'm all out. I've given all the patience I got. I wait 4 years and I call.
More patience. 4 years?
You got to stop. Right
it hasn't been 4 years. Right? What's been 4 years?
It's been close.
I think it's been a year and a half. How is it 4 years?
It's been like
Oren Burks.
It's 3 years on Oren Burks. 3 years. 3 years. Third year.
It feels like half that. Okay, well, let's give him some time. Let's give him the playoffs. Come on. Then we'll make some judgments.
See, this is the thing. Your eternal optimism rubs off on me, and then I start getting optimistic about stuff. And then I go on the internet and I go on Twitter, and all that optimism gets beaten out of me. So it's good. I'm glad I have you as a friend. Keep me out.
I mean, but think about it, though. Think about it, okay? People, here's my thing about people, right? It's like, yeah, we don't know about football. Even those of us who'd like to think we know something about football, even those of us on this show right now. But you know what? Do you remember your junior year in high school or in college?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Like, do you remember, like, the moments where it took you a little bit longer for stuff to drop in? And, like, what bothers me is, like, yeah, at some point you got to give up on a guy and then he could drop in later, right? Brian has to make that decision for the team. But this idea that, you know, human beings, the NFL, I know college fans don't want to freaking hear this, okay? I understand, right? But the NFL to college, it's literally this. Okay? Anybody who likes talking shit and saying Ohio State can be an NFL team? No, that's not true. Okay? That's what I have to say about that. There is no Division I college team that can beat any NFL team. I'm talking about the worst team. I'm talking about Detroit Lions. No, get out of here, okay? Go away, get out of here, okay, with that crap talk. But you gotta get to the level. You gotta get yourself up on that level and go. Not everybody can just come in and kill it, you know. So I don't know. Gotta take that human perspective and be like, how long does it take for guys to develop? Some guys it takes 4 years. Some guys never get that chance.
It's true. That's true. Like I said, your optimism rubs off on me, and then I watch the tape, and all the optimism goes away. But that's just me. That's just how it is, you know. That's what we got, the push and the pull here, Behnke. The yin and the yang, the peanut butter and the chocolate. That's how it works. That's how we do it. Let's talk about this Jaguars game because I know you're pumped about it. I know you're a big matchup guy, and you really like how the Packers match up with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Look, we all know it's supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be windy. It's supposed to be raining, maybe even snowy. The Packers need to handle the weather better this time around. Because God knows Aaron King Rodgers, immediately after the last game, said they didn't handle the weather very well.
You're right.
They're the Green Bay Packers.
More than one time he said it was windy. I'm going to just put that out there. That was very bizarre because he normally never blames stuff like that. So that was a little weird to me.
I just don't care. And I understand it's extremely windy. The gusts of up to 40 miles per hour. I get it. I don't care. It's an
So
excuse.
run the ball.
The other team
so
has
run
to
the
play in it.
ball.
Exactly.
You're a running team. Run the ball.
Exactly.
Hello. The wind
Exactly.
doesn't do anything when you run the ball.
It's amazing how that works. The Vikings didn't seem to have an issue with that. Both teams have to play in the elements. You got to be able to adapt.
The more and more that time goes on from that game, I do believe that coach's self-scout is going to be revealing over the course of the season. And, he does have tendencies. He has. I feel like coach has two different mindsets. He has this 30,000, and a lot of us have this, right? Where we have our strategic mindset, and then we have our tactical mindset, right? Where I think strategically he wants to be a run first, run heavy offense, and the illusion of complexity. But I think that in situational football times, as he gets into his tactics, he and Aaron have a propensity to throw the ball no matter what. So I do think there's this duality that goes on in coach where he's battling that, And so I hope that over the course of the season, he can kind of self-scout and be like, no, here's where I have a tendency, to throw it, and I've got time to get this to develop and run the ball. So I hope so. I doubt it, but I hope so.
I hope so. I doubt it, but I hope so. Next up, Jake Luton, the new quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, will give this defense some opportunities. He will put the ball in peril, in jeopardy, if you will, and it is up to guys like Josh Jackson, Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos, whoever's starting opposite, whether it's Kadar Holman or Kevin King, to take advantage of those opportunities, because they will be there. This is a young guy making his second NFL start. Hopefully the Packers can put some pressure on him and put some mistakes on the board that they are able to, utilize and overcome and turn into points and make this a laugher early on so we can all chill in the second half, because that's exactly what they need to be doing. The next up is be ready for the Jaguars' pressure. The Jaguars cannot get home rushing 4. Almost every one of their sacks this year has come on a blitz, whether it's 5 or more guys getting after the quarterback. And that's surprising given that they do have Josh Allen, who is a pretty damn good pass rusher, but they have got to blitz to get pressure. Now, I know we all say don't blitz Aaron Rodgers, and there's every possibility that maybe they do want to play coverage, but we've seen both the Saints, a game that the Packers won, and the Buccaneers, a game that they got killed, brought pressure and gave the Packers a lot of problems up front. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's going to rule the day, but it is certainly something that the Packers have to be prepared for, whether it is putting extra guys in, running more condensed formations to utilize backs, tight ends, what have you, in pass protection, or just be really sharp on your hot routes and be ready for getting the ball out of the hands of the quarterback, especially if they're running overloads, things where, the quarterback is responsible for the free man. They just got to be sharp in their pressure counters this week. That is going to be, utmost important. If you're trying to beat the Green Bay Packers in 2020, you got to get to the quarterback, and there are teams that have shown the path to do that. And unfortunately you would think that if you're trying to force it to Devontae, you'd have a couple people you're going to throw in the flat to just in case you've got to dump the ball off. So hopefully we don't forget about that, and hopefully we deal with pressure early on so that we can get into situational football. They call it off too.
For the
absolutely.
time. Also,
totally
the Jaguars,
though,
here's the thing, Nagler. Have the Jaguars ever done this? Have they ever done a 3-man rush and gotten a DFR?
In their history, I'm going to guess yes.
In this season.
But this year,
season, no.
Probably
I'm
not.
Say this now. I'm gonna say
exactly.
I don't even know. I'm going to say no. I don't think has any team gotten a DFR off a 3-man rush this season? I'm going to have to ask Andy Herman to look into that.
I doubt it. Next up, Miles Jack is a problem. I love Miles Jack. I love him as a football player. I really wanted the Packers to draft him. Fun fact, Behnke, that was the draft where you and I were in your old office for Packer Transplants draft weekend when it was that really thin office setup upstairs from where we are now at LiveX. And it was the only year we did it there. But that was the year they drafted
we did all the cool
Kenny
graphics.
Clark instead of Miles Jack, and I was so pissed And let me just say right here publicly to Ted Thompson, thank you. Thank you for drafting Kenny Clark instead of Miles Jack, because I love Kenny Clark. And I still love Miles. He has a problem. He has 52 tackles on the year, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and a sack. He's allowed just 90 yards in coverage on 22 targets. And quarterbacks have a passer rating of 53.2 when they throw at him. The guy does it all. I love Miles Jack. He is a legit player, and probably one of the few that the Jaguars have. And finally, the last point I wanted to make about the Jaguars, speaking of legit players, this kid that they have at running back, Robinson, James Robinson, he's an undrafted free agent. He is fucking legit. He is coming off a 25 carry performance against the Texans. He had 99 yards and a touchdown. He is set to actually shatter the undrafted free agent rookie running back record as far as yardage goes in a season. This kid, now, you want to talk about a path to victory. The Jaguars have one, unlike Trump. Hey-oh, had to say it. Sorry. Had to be said.
Whoa.
The Jaguars have a path to victory.
What just happened?
The Jaguars, if they can run this kid and eat up the clock, keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, and then get after Aaron Rodgers when he is on the field with that pressure we talked about, create a turnover, get a 2-for-1, they could be cooking with gas. That is their path to victory. Make no mistake about it. And it all starts with James Robinson. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay,
right?
I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that the counterpoint to that is 3-man rush to get the DFR. Okay.
You are really going to say that every fucking week now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, dude. The 3-man rush is my favorite play. It is my It is my play. The 3-man rush is the greatest defensive play the Green Bay Packers have had in 2020. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't. Okay. You can't do it.
Are you done?
You wish you could, but you can't. You wish you could. You wish you could. You wish you could be like, yeah, I hate the 3-man rush, and now you kind of like it. You kind of like it, don't you?
Always hate 3-man rush. The 3-man rush is a devil's spawn, and when it does work, on the odd time, the 1 out of 1,000 times it does work, that is the devil tempting you, saying, "See, it's not that bad. Run the 3-man rush," and then you run it again.
I'm tempted.
And the quarterback throws for a touchdown. Yeah, I'm
tempted.
You are very tempted.
I'm tempted.
I am aware.
I want to see.
All right, are we ready for this nonsense? Barry, tell Corey to shut up.
He means play the clip.
We're ready. He means play Bogosphere.
This week in the Packer blogosphere.
That's right. This week in the Packer blogosphere, the return of that venerable series. Corey Behnke, can I just say, how the hell are you? I feel like I haven't talked to you.
How are you though? How are you though, Nagler? You're dealing with some COVID right now. I heard you got a case of the Rona.
I am dealing with some COVID. I do. That's why I am coming to you live from my apartment rather than the studio. That's right. I put it out there on Twitter. I do. I got COVID. Came back positive. Got it. Family's got it. We're quarantined. I got to tell you what. Those New York City contract tracers are no joke, people. Shout out to New York City. They are pretty fucking impressive from where I'm sitting. But yeah, I got the COVID. Going to be quarantined for 10 straight days. That's the mandate from the state. So anything I do will be coming to you live from the Nagler estate in Astoria, New York.
Well, we hope you get better there, Nagler. We don't want you to die, okay?
Thank you, sir. Well, that's the thing. I feel fine. I don't have any symptoms. I'm just walking around like a normal dude. But can't deny the science. Here I am, quarantined for the next 10 days. Me and my girls just hanging out. Send help. I'm already overwhelmed.
That sounded like a nightmare.
I'm already overwhelmed. Oh my goodness. All right, so now, next up we got new Packs What She Said gear up in the store. That's right. Maggie Loney, Perry Goldstein, stars of the podcast, stars of other avenues here on the internet when it comes to covering the Packers. Their latest podcast will be up tonight, previewing the Jaguars game. Their brand new gear is up in the store. Look at that stuff. That is pretty great. Make sure you check that out. If you go to the website, CheeseheadTV.com, just click the shop link. Better yet, if you're on YouTube, just look below this video and you will see a link to the store. Just check out that stuff. Support Perry and Maggie. They do thebomb.com type of work when it comes to everything having to do with the Green Bay Packers. Next up, Corey, I saw you engaging with one said Mr. David Bakhtiari last night, I believe it was, on Twitter.com regarding the best Packers actor.
Yes. Well, there's a little battle that him and Aaron Rodgers were kind of going back and forth on who's the best actor. I think between David Bakhtiari and Aaron Rodgers, you got to give it up to D-Back just because of Pitch Perfect. I mean, Pitch Perfect is the penultimate Green Bay Packer movie, okay? I'm sorry, but let's just call a spade what a spade is. I think that after – I think – but what they're missing, though, they're missing something, okay? There is only one, okay? The greatest current actor – that is a member of the Green Bay Packers is one Coach Matt LaFleur, hands down, number one. It's like NFL in college, okay? And I don't think Aaron Rodgers or D-Back is going to argue with me on this point, because when you watch any time Matt LaFleur comes on television, and I'm talking about, okay, I got this DVR. I got Packers Live with The Rock. I got all the shows like Green Bay Nation, because I know that in between I can watch Andy Herman, and then on the commercials I can see Coach, so I can always see the newest Coach Cellcom commercial, which there's another one going to be dropping soon. I can see the newest Coach Bell and Health commercial, and they're all gold. And here's the thing, David Bakhtiari was in the latest Cellcom one, and David Bakhtiari, okay, he actually increased. He's got to be the number 2, right? Because if you take Cellcom and you take Pitch Perfect, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is like, Aaron Rodgers was on Game of Thrones supposedly, but no one even knows who he was or what he did on Game of Thrones.
Hello,
so what? I got State Farm ads. So all day I got State Farm ads. Okay, so you killed a dog. Okay, so you killed your dog. And the funny thing is on the State Farm ads, Clay Matthews is the best thing on the State Farm ads. The best State Farm ad is Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matthews when I can't remember what happens, but Clay Matthews is the reason that it's so good.
I feel you. That's what my only quibble with what Dave put up there on Twitter last night was he said on the big screen. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been on the big screen. He's been in Game of Thrones, supposedly. We saw him in costume. Still can't figure out where he is on the actual show.
There is no big screen anymore, though.
There is. Absolutely,
there's no big screen. No, there's not.
Well, not after COVID. Now that they're going to kill theaters as we know them.
There's no big screen when you release movies on Disney Plus immediately. And
I know, but that's my point. They have to now, though. Back when those projects were released, however, there certainly was. Hey, before we go any further, we mentioned him earlier. I want to give a shout out to Big B. Let me tell you about this kid. All right, I met Big B at training camp. I believe it was 2 years ago. I'm walking back from practice, and this guy comes up to me and says, "Will you sign my football?" And I take this thing, and I notice that it is like beset with many resplendent Packers autographs. And this kid wants my autograph? And I'm like, wait, no, you don't want me to sign this. This is going to ruin the value of your football. Exactly. That's what I said. And he was like, no, I watch you every day. I love what you do. And I thought, okay, this kid's crazy. That's nice, but crazy. And then I signed it and whatever. And then he slowly became this regular on CheeseheadTV, every single thing we produce. And now, as he, announced last week, battling cancer, he joined us last night for the CheeseheadTV Patreon happy hour from his hospital bed, Behnke.
Amazing.
You talk about a kid who is dedicated, a kid who carries the G. Big shout out to Big B. That's all I want to say about that.
I couldn't even make it, and so that talk about carrying the L.
He's more dedicated than you are for your own happy hour.
It's true. It's true.
Okay, and speaking of the blogosphere and what we do, Watch Party will be on Sunday. I know this morning when I talked to you guys on Packers Daily, I wasn't quite sure. It's a bit of a kind of up in the air, but we'll figure out something. And we will be here Sunday watching the game. It's going to be an interesting mix. I'm sure my girls will be around running in and out of camera, but it'll be fun.
Great.
It'll be a good time.
They'll be like, "What, Dad?
Corey,
what's the Packers?"
Welcome to the.
They'll be like,
"Welcome to the experience,
Dad,
baby."
What are you watching, Dad? Dad, what are you watching?
Yeah.
Oh, the Packers.
A lot of that.
Is Britney Spears or not Britney Spears? No, what's the one? Sorry, what's the Taylor Swift? Is Taylor Swift on there?
Yeah. No, there was no Taylor Swift. Although I did see that The Weeknd is doing the halftime show for the Super Bowl, which may I just say.
I just don't understand what it used to be that the Super Bowl halftime show was like a huge artist, and I like The Weeknd, but The Weeknd, it's kind of like they drafted a high school player for the NFL. I mean, I don't know. It's just like The Weeknd needs like. Doesn't he need two more albums before he can I don't know.
I remember talking to Brian in the NFL office about this very thing. Who in modern kind of firmament of pop entertainment, who do you pick? Other than maybe Taylor Swift, who unfortunately
Ariana Grande
Taylor
all
Swift
day.
has a contract with Pepsi, or with Coke, so she can't do the Pepsi halftime show.
But Ariana Grande is bigger than The Weeknd. She's huge too, and
I agree.
She's got the female demographic. She just came out with a huge album. She's had 3 back-to-back huge albums. After the terrorist event that happened at her concert, it really matured her as an artist. She went from licking a donut to being like a role model for women all over the globe. I mean, she's kind of like that up and coming. She's not like Weeknd is up and coming, but it's like
she's a huge star.
There's a
she's
ton
a huge star, no doubt about it.
She's a huge star.
There's not a ton. That's the problem. There's not a ton.
No, you're right.
No, it's like they went through every single old geriatric artist they could before they couldn't even walk anymore. Like I think the last of that line was The Who, which is one of the worst halftime shows I've ever seen. And I love The Who.
Oh my God.
I love their music. But that show was awful.
You want to talk about old head? Wow. Okay, whoever put The Weeknd is greater than Ariana Grande, delete yourself from this account. Just go ahead and delete your YouTube account.
Oh no,
you're crazy. I like The Weeknd, but no, you're kidding
I like The Weeknd
yourself.
too, but
look at sales. Look at all the numbers and all the stuff. Yeah.
Okay, let's get to some super chats. Unfortunately, this week we won't be able to put it up on the screen because of remote issues, but we'll hopefully have it for you guys next week. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Let's get Big B an autographed Jamal Williams jersey. Corey, can you go ask him? So I believe they want you to walk across the street and go to Lambeau Field.
That would require me to do work.
Ask Jamal Williams.
Just FYI.
Okay, good, fair point.
I would love to meet Jamal Williams, though. That would be cool. I would do it. I'll get him a jersey. I just don't think. Here's the problem, though. I don't think that I have the juice, Nagler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's probably true.
I don't really have any juice.
Just
I have zero juice.
Call Wallers. He'll pick up the phone.
No, he won't. Maybe I'll. Hey, Wallers. Hello?
Say hi to Coach.
Jason.
There you go.
I'm going to DM you.
Saul, thank you for the super chat. Devontae Adams will go off for over 200 yards Sunday. I'm down with this plan. I am more than down with that plan. All right, let's see what else we got here. Benny, thank you for the super chat. Wow, from across the pond. Thanks, guys. So grateful for your long-lasting contributions. Our world as Packers fans. Love from Denmark. Thank you, Benny. Very, very generous of you. I don't know how to pronounce this. No word. Thanks for the super chat. I'm taking my first trip to the Promised Land this weekend. Where's the best place in Green Bay to catch the game during Rona season? Corey's house, definitely.
Woo! No. If you no, incorrect, sir. Incorrect.
Oh, I love it.
Whatever you do,
tell him, Corey.
Whatever you do, if you're not in Northeast Wisconsin, stay away. I'm telling you right now, it's not.
Guys, probably the greatest advice you could give anybody. RC, thank you for the super chat. Need one or two more notches from defensive tackles and linebackers. I agree, RC. We do need one or two more kind of, I guess, bringing it levels from the defensive tackles and linebackers. I kick ass 44. Thank you for the super chat. I missed the Woodson Harris defensive back combo. You know who else misses that? The Packers. All right, I lost my co-host. Overshadow Sean, thank you for the super chat. Faux show. That's right. Thank you, Overshadow. Arthur, thank you for the super chat. Had to put down my dog who I grew up with today. Oh, man. Third grade to college. 2020 sucks. Thanks, CheeseheadTV, for distracting me from things and staying positive. Go, Pack, go. Arthur, shout out to you. Shout out to the good boy. In a better place. Because God knows, being on Earth in 2020 is the fucking shit. Overshadow, thanks again. How has Metallica never played a Super Bowl halftime show? They are made for it. That would be so dope. They'd come out with like
do it though.
Yeah. Well, they played that didn't they play? They played. I feel like they've played a Raiders game before,
but
like a halftime show.
Yeah.
It'd be
I think
dope.
it would be great. It's just the problem nowadays is you basically have pop and hip hop as like the most ubiquitous music of the
popular.
time.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's kind of like Broadway, right? It's like Hamilton was such a huge hit, not only because it was a good piece of theater, but it got into pop culture. And if you're the NFL, you want to be, if you're going to bring pop culture into your game and you're at the highest level, at the highest thing that is literally watched by more people than anything on earth besides like Premier League, although I'm still debating that. You gotta have the biggest thing. You gotta have the biggest thing of that. It just, you gotta apples to apples. Like, I don't know. That's kind of my thinking about that.
I hear you. I mean, I don't know. I could go on, but I won't bore people. Ismail, thank you for the super chat. Will firing Mike Pettin fix all our defensive problems?
Yes.
I'm not going to say all of them, but a few of them. I definitely think it'll maybe unleash the talent a little bit more. No, but I don't know it, but I'm allowed to have an opinion about it. Guess what, Corey Behnke? We co-founded CheeseheadTV. Co means both of us, means I'm half of it, means I get to have half an opinion. My half of opinion is, I don't know for sure, but I think probably. How's that?
I don't agree with you.
Well, hey, good, because that's what this whole show is founded on. RC, thanks for the super chat. I wanted defensive tackle help, but I'm starting to appreciate the depth we have as we get more healthy, quote unquote, knock on wood. I mean, look, I think Lancaster was not playing well at the start of the year. I think he played better once he came back from injury. Lowry, to me, is a bit of a wash. Kiki, when he's got his head on straight and he's doing it the way it should be done, I think he's pretty good, but he's just not consistent enough. And then, of course, you've got Kenny, who has missed a lot of time and hopefully will start rounding into shape and become even more of a problem for opposing offenses. So I do think they've got the pieces necessary. It's just they've got to be more consistent. To me, that's what it's all about. And is Mike Pettin the man to unlock that consistency? We will find out as
he's the only
Packers
man
turn.
The thing is, he's the man we have right now, and you're not going to replace anyone this season and get a boost. Correct, in my opinion.
Correct. Frank, thanks for the super chat. Big B is the GOAT. The GOAT! Got to agree with that assessment.
By the way, if I knew Jamal Williams, Big B would already have an autograph from Jamal Williams. So don't think I'm not doing it not for Jamal Williams. I just don't know. I mean, for Big B, but I just don't. Yeah. I don't know where to start.
We know you. We know you have no juice. It's all right, man. We gotta ask Game On Wisconsin for
no
Jamal
juice,
Williams
Big B.
stuff.
Sorry,
We all know this.
Sorry, buddy. Yeah, they got him on the show.
RC, thank you for the super chat.
Easy.
Irrelevant, but Russ has 10 TOs, and Rodgers has the highest drop rate. Turnovers. Russ has 10 turnovers. Yeah. Oh, Russell Wilson.
Yes.
I thought he was talking about Russ Ball having 10 turnovers, and I was very confused. Russell Wilson
the MVP.
has 10 turnovers.
He's talking about the MVP.
Rodgers has the highest drop rate and a higher passer rating in the league, and is a third in the MVP race. You don't know where he is in the MVP race. No, you know why? Because the MVP race is fictional. It is a media creation. Until people actually vote and put their names on those votes and they tally them up and name an MVP, the MVP race does not exist. It is not a real thing. That's all I got to say about that. All right. I am done. I am all done with all of that. You got anything else, Behnke?
No, I'm really looking forward to the Packers destroying the Jaguars. So I would really like to see that happen.
That is true. I want to give a shout out to all our Patreon members. Thanks for joining me last night on our Patreon happy hour. If you'd like to join us on Patreon and support everything we do at CheeseheadTV, go to patreon.com/CheeseheadTV. $5 a month is all we ask for. You get access to everything we do, including exclusive access to my podcast every week, Nagler's Never Right. My latest episode features Tom Grossi, YouTube star extraordinaire.
Who's
always a good time with everybody I have on.
You know what I was going to put? But
boy.
Grossi fans, I totally figured Grossi fans, when you put that on Nagler's Never Right, I was going to be like, who's Tom Grossi? Apparently you missed a super chat, Nagler. You missed a super chat. PacFan39, you skipped my super chat on Green Jones. Sorry about that. It's
cool.
Nagler's fault. So
Sorry, brother.
He's got COVID.
Yeah, it's always my fault.
COVID, so
well, I'm looking for it and I don't see it. I would blame YouTube on this one because I'm literally scrolling through right now.
We should just blame the Rona. It's fine. Just blame the Rona. It's cool.
I'm sorry, PacFan39. I'm literally like, oh, here we go. I got it. Best overall running back, Aaron Jones or Amon Green? Corey, go.
Paul Hornung.
I love it. I'm going to go with Amon Green.
Sorry, I meant to say.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I meant to say Edgar. I'm sorry, I meant to say Edgar Bennett. Sorry, I meant to say Edgar Bennett. Sorry.
Right. I'm going to go with Amon Green, if only because I know he had the fumble issues, but Amon Green in 2003 absolutely carried that team. And you could literally line up 11 guys in the box. The entire defense could go, they're running right, and they would toss it to Amon Green to the right, and he would still get 8 yards. You catch it out of the backfield. Obviously, everybody talks about the fumbles. They were an issue for a bit. But overall, Amon Green was a fucking monster. And I love Aaron Jones.
Really
you guys know I love Aaron Jones.
He really was.
But Amon Green was a fucking monster.
Well, I think Aaron Jones, it needs more time because Amon Green, he had that motor, right?
Yeah,
he hit the second level, and all of a sudden, it was like you turned on a snowmobile. It was just like, boom,
I was in
gone.
I was in the house that night against Denver when he went 90-plus yards. That was one of the sweetest sights I've ever laid eyes.
I was a great
run.
86 yards, I believe, Nagler. I believe that was an 86-yard run for a touchdown.
It's a hot run. That's all I know. That night was amazing.
It was amazing. It was beautiful, and then everybody was looking up to the press box and seeing if Minnesota was going to lose in the desert, and they lost in the last play of the game, which they did.
That's so beautiful.
True story. They lost. They did. It was so great. It was the last play of the game, and then we gave the wide receiver of Arizona the key to the city. Remember that?
Nate Poole. The best part of that night, though, was when they showed the graphic that the Packers had won the NFC North. Hey, shout out to the Packers digital / game day provisions team for having that graphic ready, because going into that game, not too many people thought at the end of the game the Packers would be winning the division. 2003. What a year. That'll do it for this episode of Packer Transplants. We'd like to thank everyone who joined us today, who makes Cheesehead TV part of their daily Packers routine. We are and will always be devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide.
I have a question, Aaron, for Aaron Nagler. Does he go by Packer? I see Packer Aaron sometimes writes on Cheesehead TV. Is that his? Does he go by that, or is that somebody else?
Oh yes, yeah. That's me.
Okay,
that goes way back. I think when we started the site.